IEC will able to conduct e-voting piloting. And Chairperson, I'm clear that it may not be say that in the period where funds are available. And in the absence of that, in their argument, Chair, is that in the absence of that provision, it says that they will unable to conduct that piloting. The period in which they may to conduct must be clearer as per these responses to them, because it may be, for example, Chair, if it may be approved, but moving forward in the 2 years or 3 years, the available funds they can able to pilot this e-voting product. But principally, Chair, is that there must be research details from outside institutions who have conducted this e-voting pilot. So in the manner that Honorable Ross raises it, we're able to consider a coherent and understanding on the final product, and our members of society, particularly in rural areas, are able to understand this process before we consider its finality. I fully agree on the revised provision, Chair, in terms of the issues. And I think, Chair, we still have to go and make consultations on the matter. Chairperson, I think it also to be important also to bring in the legal team of Parliament, and also to interact on this matter at a particular stage, Chair, just to give us a sense of implications if we take this provision in or not, if we don't take this provision. It will be important, Chair, so that that advice is be guided to members of the committee. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Honorable Chavan. Honorable Kanyil.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning, colleagues. I'm not sure if I'm audible. I'm having challenges today again. Am I audible?
You get cut.
Mm.
If you can try to switch off your yes.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible?
Proceed. I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you so much, and to colleagues and greetings to representatives from the IEC. Chairperson, first and foremost, I'd like to reiterate what the Honorable has said, that words.
Honorable
Can you hear?
Kanyil?
Yes.
No, you still have the challenge of last week.
Chairperson, how can we best resolve this challenge? You maybe have suggested, a different place today.
We must come to Johannesburg and attend the meeting from here. It will be easier from Midrand.
No, Chairperson, I don't know. I won't be able to do that. Because
no, it's fine. It's fine. You can't proceed. I think you will have to put everything in writing. I see Makluba is talking. Let's allow Honorable Likota. He's also laughing that you must come this side of this to the south. Honorable Likota. Honorable Modize. Yeah, the system is it's quite unfriendly. Can I at this stage allow the IEC to respond? Over to you, Honorable Msutu.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to you, to the Minister, Deputy Minister, and to the members.
Chairperson, before Mr. Msutu proceed, may I correct something, Chair? Please, with your permission.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Mr. Msutu, not Honorable Msutu. Chairperson, I wanted to correct that. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Accepted. You can
Thank
proceed.
you, Chair. And I must greet everyone that is connected to this session. We're grateful to you and the committee for the opportunities to clarify the submissions we have made. There are a number of things we have noted this morning. We note that generally the bill is considered acceptable, but there are a number of issues that are raised that we need to clarify, or we may need to clarify. And I'd like to deal with those as they were raised. I would not necessarily repeat them as raised by honorable members. We have last week submitted on the appreciation that there may have been apprehension which was unintended in relation to sections 14 and 21. As the Electoral Commission, we offered to alleviate the difficulties that may be raised therein. It is our view, we haven't heard what our revisions, whether our revisions carry persuasion or not, but our understanding is that the members of the committee would prefer that both sections 14 and 21 we consider removing them. I'll come back to that and the implications. We certainly do not wish for members of the committee and this nation later not to appreciate the challenges that we face as a commission. The second thing that I'd really want to raise is there is appreciation, I think, and we welcome that the bill is not about implementing electronic voting. It is, in fact, far from that. If one looks at countries that have migrated to electronic voting, they have done so following a number of years of piloting, of trial and error, and understanding and educating. That is clearly a way we believe this nation would have to follow. We have looked at what our nation has, the challenges it faces, and the difficulties we will have to deal with in the future. And we need to balance all of those to come to a proposition that we could later come back to Parliament and say, here are the proposals, this is the proposition that we make for your consideration. We are not at that point. We are at the point where we are still looking internally. We are talking to represented political parties in the party liaison committee. And we, together with them, have come this far to say, we are not moving from where we are. That's the principle. But we are saying, as soon as the possibilities and the means exist to begin to look at this, that's really what we needed to do. The third thing that I want to point out, Chairperson, is that when we look at electronic voting and our nation, we have been we have been doing research, and I had Honorable Chabane raising this matter. We have been researching this matter since the late 90s, the early 2000s. And we have, updated political parties. I'm sure we would favor this portfolio committee with all of the research that we have done and the reports that we have undertaken in the past. Some members, if not all maybe, may remember that in 2012, 2013, we had an international Imbizo on this matter, which was held in Cape Town, where members of political parties, then members of the portfolio committee were present, where we extensively looked at electronic voting and how those countries that have moved to electronic voting and those that have moved out of electronic voting, what the pros and cons were. We had people from the Netherlands who have turned back from that. We had people from Brazil and other nations who are using electronic voting. And we were well informed. And at that point, our nation took a decision that said, Electoral Commission, continue to research, but we are better served where we are currently. And that really is the spirit with which we took those discussions. But when we move forward and we look specifically at many of the challenges we have hitherto come to experience, that's why we are where we are. And I want to remind members that there were allegations. None of which were proven, that we have challenges with respect to our current voting methods, that persons, when they vote in national and provincial elections, it does not affect local government elections. It's in national and provincial elections. In some instances, have attempted to vote twice. Those are issues that worry us. We have heard from you as the portfolio committee that we needed to look at these things, and we submit to you that though we revise legislation, or we have made proposals for your considerations, which will not affect local government elections in this respect, those are propositions worth pursuing if we are to be assisted in limiting exposure in national and provincial elections in 2024. I want to point out, Chairperson, through you, that the issues that hold true to local government elections, where people vote in the wards where they live and not anywhere else, are not issues that will arise from the difficulties that we have known from Section 24 as was submitted. And so I want to reassure you and our nation that for 2021, people strictly vote where they live, where they are in the wards where they live. They cannot vote outside of those wards. I want to submit that we as the Electoral Commission want the portfolio committee to take the decision that is informed. We do not have difficulty with what decision the committee will take, but we do believe that we need to inform the committee in the best possible way so that they make the best possible decision. In this respect, the issue in relation to the Constitutional Court challenge that, well, the court decision that was issued in June would or may require at a later stage that a longer ballot paper anticipating the contestation by independent candidates must be accommodated. When that happens, the complexity in managing an election, particularly voting and counting, will arise. And these are ways we are trying to, to begin to prepare to deal with. We are not saying by 2024 we would have a system, but we are saying we need to understand what better ways do we have to do that. When you prepare for a long-term race, you don't prepare a night before that race. And the point I am really making here is that when we take the decision not to even pilot, we will, of necessity, delay the process of piloting by a number of years going outwards. And that is really the point we want to make. We do not hold, we would understand if Parliament said, no, we don't do, even when the means are, are available and so on and so forth. But we certainly accept that we cannot do so when there are no means and it is not intended to get into local government election in 2021 or to just go into 2024 without the thing having been tested. 2024 is going to require the participation of independent candidates. There are a number of ways that Parliament may come out with a process, some of which may entail more ballot papers and more complicated ways of voting. That is the anticipation we have in mind. That is the preparation that we are having in mind. And in all of that, we would work hand in glove with yourselves, with political parties, and with the election stakeholders as we would normally do. The last point that I wanted to raise, Chairperson, was that we submit to Parliament that we are satisfied with the clarity you have. We have worked extensively, as I've indicated, with electoral stakeholders in this. We have ensured that the submissions we make are indeed submitted to the Chief Law State Advisor, that they look at this thing, and we believe that they have looked at the constitutionality of the issues that have been submitted. So we just want to assure you that nothing that we have undertaken, we have done so, with other, intentions. We have done so with our bona fides, as we will always do, and we want to serve our nation to the best of our ability as we can. I want to pause there, Chairperson, and I don't know if there's anything that I have missed out that Masego may wish to submit on. But I do welcome the views of the members. I want to thank you for the opportunity of considering this. And perhaps I should, as I close, reiterate that members of the Commission sends their regards to all of you. We are in session looking at the preparations, amongst others, for local government elections, and they're involved in that session. Masego and I have taken leave of that session to be with you. Thank you very much. I don't know if you would like to offer Masego an opportunity to check on anything that we may have missed. Thank you, Chairperson.
Certainly. Over to you, Mr. Shibur. Can you unmute yourself?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair and honorable members, and thank you, Commissioner Muyapia. I think you've dealt adequately with the issues. Just to underscore a few things. The draft responds critically to things that were raised sharply in the public comments. The first one was that it was not clear, and in it being unclear, it presupposes that we were trying to circumvent the provisions of the law as it regards to the voting procedure at the voting station. Honorable Ruos has also eloquently enunciated the principles which we reiterate, that the introduction of a pilot possibility responds to issues of inclusivity, verifiability, and the equality of the vote, so that everywhere, wherever you find yourself, wherever you vote is equal as a South African. We have also redrafted the provision, clauses 14 and 21, to make it clear that whatever system we put in place must still be subject to the requirement that the voter must be clearly identifiable, the voter must be registered on the voter's roll, the voter must not vote more times than they are entitled. And Chair, lastly, the pilot affords us an opportunity to learn from jurisdictions elsewhere. There's a number of countries who have gone out on procurement drives to invest in technology without first testing the technology, only to realize when they tried to implement it that the technology was ill-suited for their circumstance. And that is a very expensive lesson to learn. Thank you very much, Chair.
You did not hand over, Mr. Shibur.
Chairperson, I hand over the volume.
Okay. I must say this, that we don't doubt your bona fide in terms of whatever provisions that we're dealing with. I think whatever we believe as a committee, whatever we do is in the interest of the Republic. We're going to interact with this matter one more time in February, but we too, like the public, are concerned about this 14 and 21, and we think we must just go look at it, refine it, and come back, present what we call some research methodology in terms of how we must get out of this, these issues. And as a committee, we are aware that the technique of decision making, it's consultation. And indeed, we want to consult with our people here. Most members refer to the rural voters and so on. We're quite aware of the technique of decision making in a democratic and open society. It's consultation. So let's go back with the view of refining. But if you feel strongly that the provisions as you have put them are correct, you must come and present us with a research methodology and convince the committee. The committee will still take the public's views into serious consideration. I'm sure you might have heard what the members are saying. Let's go and work around that. When we come back, let's present more superior arguments that are backed up by research and public participation. I think we can step off this item now. You may leave because I hear you are having another meeting. So the permission is granted that you leave. A permission. Otherwise, there may be problems.
Chair, through you, I want to thank you and your members for this opportunity. Permit me to not leave any doubt. We are quite happy to have the committee, to offer to the committee that sections 14 and 21 may be removed. We are saying that we believe that when we do so, we have made our intentions known to yourselves and you're clear. We don't have. What we do request is that the portions of the amendment bill that are raising no problem, will not affect, are impacting on the local government 2021. Those we are very keen and desirable to have them approved. We will always, speak to you, with our bona fides. That really was the point. We don't have any qualms. We think that we have presented the arguments. We have indicated what our thoughts were, and we wouldn't, we are not upset that Parliament would say, don't deal with this. That's not the point. I hope that we have clarified our position. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
No, thank you. Thank you. We are going to approve it in February, but we will still have to come back and deal with this 14 and 21 if you still feel, but it's fine. We're quite very happy that there is this working relationship that we have. So I think we will meet in February. The permission is granted that you may leave.
They're refusing.
Can we get Adams to take us through? You'll recall, members, on this item now, we have dealt with it previously, but there are elements that were brought in, and I just want Adams to take us through all those kind of elements, but we need to approve the BRRR. There is a snack that you all know that we have not received the annual report. The minister has written to the speaker requesting that we receive it later. It is in view of the fact that the Auditor General is not done with the finalization of the annual report. So as soon as it is done, it will be incorporated into these reports. So be that as it may, we may need to proceed approving it. Thank you very much. Over to you, Adams.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm just going to share the document. Yes, as the Chairperson indicated, the document has just been revised to indicate the processes of the delayed annual reports, which are reflected in the top of page 2. So basically just indicating the correspondence we've received and the process of adopting the report without the inclusion of the annual reports, as is usually the case. And then going from there, the next significant additions, apart from minor edits, are the additions to page 8, which indicate the summarized adjusted strategic and annual plan of the DHA. So that's on page 8, which comes from their presentation to us. Before I included a more substantial, this is summary from their actual revised strategic plan, but their summary is more suitable to the document. So just indicating extracts from that. So how many targets were changed in the strategic plan, how many were changed in the annual performance plan, and what those related to. So that's an overview of the strategic plan, and then extracts from their main points during that presentation. We then move on to page 11 in terms of significant changes where we indicate the annual performance, the specific changes to the annual performance plan. And here we've also included the different changes that were implemented at the various stages of the lockdown to indicate why it is that they were not able to achieve those targets and why the targets were revised, as well as further details on the specific targets that would be changed from that presentation. And then, other than that, we then move. We've then included the observations made by the members in relation to these presentations by the department and the entities as part of the, right at the end of the document, the recommendations. So there were a certain number of recommendations. So the only additional changes then coming at the end. Oh yeah, so we also indicated the first quarter performance and expenditure report in more detail, because that came to us subsequent to the last draft version, and also the observations from members in relation to that. So then we go to the final part of the document, which relates to the observations and recommendations. So in these, it's pretty much only the 2020 recommendations, the last 5 or so of the recommendations are additional ones that we added from the last time I presented. And these relate to the annual performance plan. So this relates to 7.2.19 here, where we indicate that the revised APP was presented at a very difficult time when the budget of the DHA was cut by 562 million. This could be a trend that could continue in the future. The DHA should start with a risk-adjusted performance measurement. Then 7.2.20. The passports that the DHA is issuing within 13 days during lockdown are commendable. However, the challenges in the application of passports by people abroad must be resolved. Then, what is the plan for documenting refugees and asylum seekers to get the social relief grant, which is still ongoing, but will actually come to an end at the end of this month. So that's from an old meeting. So it's questionable whether we should include that, because that may or may not continue. The committee encouraged the department to fast track the targets that were greatly affected by the lockdown. The committee should support the increase of the budget of the DHA, and the DHA should table their annual report as soon as possible. So, since we didn't get the revised APPs of the Electoral Commission and the Government Printing Works, there were no additional submissions on either of these entities, and the recommendations remain the same for them. So that's, in a nutshell, what we've made additions to the report, and I will hand over for members to contribute. I'll leave the document up on the screen so that you can refer to it, unless you tell me otherwise. Thank you, Chairperson.
I'll take the hands in the following order. Honorable Mwela, Honorable Rose, Honorable Tito, and then Honorable Lizelle. Over to you, Honorable Mwela.
Chair, can I humbly request your indulgence, Chair, before you go to members? There's just one issue that I think it's important we clarify even before deliberations.
No, I actually, I should have also granted you permission to leave, Honorable Honorable,
After this, I will leave, Chair.
yeah, I think
Chairperson,
the permission is granted for you to leave.
before you leave, Chair.
Okay.
Chair, are you
No,
recognizing me?
that's correct.
Chair, I'm not. I think I'm not disagreeing with your ruling that the DM must leave, and I think that is a principal process that we engage on. I thought if Chair, you can allow him to raise a matter if it has to do with the draft report, or he raised the matter outside with you, so that we benefit to what he ought to raise, Chair. I think I'm trying to create these two options, Chair, that either he gets be released, he raise it outside with you, you bring it to our attention, or he raise it immediately and then he leaves. Because I thought it would be important to benefit from what he has identified on the report. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, you can raise it outside with me, because this is strictly a meeting of members around BRRR. And these are findings of the committee. It's a committee session. So I think you can leave and raise it with me outside this meeting.
Chair,
Who's chair?
it's me, it's Liesel.
You can proceed.
Chair, I'm just worried maybe the DM would have wanted to address us on the late submission of the annual report, because it's quite a serious matter, and even though we do understand the reasons, maybe that's why he wanted to address us. So although I don't want to go against your ruling, maybe we should have.
He has left already.
Oh, okay, sorry, no problem.
Yeah, he has left already. But with regard to the annual report, Honorable Co-Chair, it's
No, I did read the letter, so it's fine. I was just worried about the legal implications of adopting a BRRR without having seen the annual reports. But I did read your opinion on the matter this morning, so I'm happy. Thank you, Chair.
okay. Thank you, Honorable Moela. Honorable Ross.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so firstly, thank you for this report. I think a lot of the recommendations are pretty comprehensive. Certainly a concern from my point of view is the large number of APP items outstanding from last year. That list is getting quite long. And it's something that we really need to address as a committee. I remember there were also outstanding items on the audit reports from way back when that we started to look at initially, and then that process seemed to stop. So we had our resolution tracking. So Chair, I'd like to urge that we put these on the resolution tracking urgently for first thing next year, that we start to get some of these resolved. I mean, some of these have a sort of a 7-day time period from the time that the BRRR was adopted. So it's quite serious that we then sit theoretically a year later and that hasn't been resolved. And then I'd also like to welcome the addition on the applications from persons overseas that is included in here. There has been a petition submitted to Parliament, but this is an extremely serious issue for these persons that are stuck overseas. Many people are now flying back to South Africa just to apply for their passport. So it's an extremely urgent issue.
Thank you. Honorable Tito.
Thanks, Chairperson. Chair, I will also like to comment on 7.2.21 on that one of what is the plan for documenting the refugees and asylum seekers to get the social relief grant. I heard Adam saying that we must remove it because of it was only it is going to end on this month of November. So I don't understand that one. And because of we must get a clarity, Chair, on that one, on how many refugees and asylum seekers were documented to get their social relief grant. I don't know, or maybe am I out of order or what, Chair? Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you. Honorable Lizel.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I would also like to agree that I think we need to have a resolution tracking mechanism in the new year. Maybe we should keep an Excel document and sort of, keep track of some of the issues that have not been addressed. I think on the point of what is the plan for documenting refugees and asylum seekers to get their social relief grant, serving on the Portfolio Committee of Social Development, I believe that SASSA has paid about 440 asylum seekers. And remember, they were paying people who are documented, who are already legitimately within the borders of South Africa as asylum seekers. So I'm wondering whether this point shouldn't just be changed to read, what is the plan with addressing the backlog in the asylum seeker application system? Because I don't think, of course, this point will not be relevant going forward as the grant will cease to exist. So I'm thinking maybe we should just change that. I was also looking at all our input here in terms of the resolutions and the committee observations. I was just a bit worried that, and maybe this is not relevant, but I'm just a bit worried that we don't speak anymore about the war on keys. Because I think the problem with Home Affairs currently is that it lacks very much a customer service orientated approach. We do speak about the Beitbridge border fence and the challenges we experience there, but I wondered whether we shouldn't include a general point with regards to the immigration system as a whole and the need for the minister to come back with a clear plan of action to address the current shortcomings in the immigration system, whether it is the lack of personnel, whether it's the breaches at the borders, specifically the corruption within the department. The other day he was on TV saying that they've managed to find some people who were selling documents in Namibia and other places. So I think the issue of corruption must also be dealt with under a point that speaks specifically about the collapse of the immigration system and the need for the minister to come up with a specific plan in this regard. I know we often speak about the Border Management Authority, but that will take years to set up. So we need a plan in the interim from this department, how they plan to close the loopholes. So I don't know if that can still be included. I mean, it specifically also speaks to the challenges we are seeing currently at Payne City and Maitland, which we visited. So those will be my only inputs for now, Chairperson.
No, thank you. I think it's a good contribution. I think we've got to look into some of those issues. Adams? Honorable Likota? Honorable Likota? Veteran, what are you eating now? Okay, Honorable Lehwasa?
I think the previous speakers have covered me, Chair. I am okay for now.
Thank you, Honorable Lehwasa. Who else is here? Honorable Pina.
Hello, Chair. Greetings to the committee as well.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to I've been actually not receiving some document from Braed. I think that I'm not on his group. So I will study the report as well and actually make my inputs and all of that. But I've spoken to Braed that can you please include me on the emailing list, because I get so disorganized in terms of like these issues. Even this I had to find out this morning we're having a meeting. I did check yesterday and I found that, okay, it looks as if we don't have anything. But when I checked now this morning, we're having a meeting. So I've asked Braedi to put me on the emailing list and make sure that he keeps loop every time. But I will study my reports and then I can make some submissions. I'll just send them to Braedi. Thanks.
I'll make sure that you are included properly. Honorable Mudisa.
Chairperson.
Honorable Chabani.
No, thanks, Chair. The first one, I want just to ask if when is the last day of submission if we're to further correct certain things in the document, Chair. Maybe he can respond later. Chair, I think also on the capturing on the failure of the department or delay of the department to submit the annual report. In your opening, Chair, you did outline the process that the department has sent a request for an extension and was granted by the speaker. And I think it's not finding expression on this report. It's just a blatant that the report must be submitted. So I think, I'm not sure Adams will assist, but I think that note needs to be presented. Chair, the issue of the Cape Town refugees, I'm not sure whether it's accurately put in the manner that's being presented. The IEC, in terms of the recommendations, the IEC did presented options post the post the Constitutional Court judgment. And in the manner it has been crafted, it appears we recommended that they still had to come and present. It does not give effect of the process that was already engaged. I think most of the writings, Chair, speaks to the future, and I'm not sure on the issues that have already been engaged, how this report is supposed to reflect, because this document is going to be presented to Parliament. If you check also, Chair, on the capturing of the trade, Africa trade, I think on the capturing of this Africa trade process, there's an omission of Africa on the capturing. But Chair, because of the follow-up and discussion we had both with in particular with the government printing works, the framing of the issues to some extent does not even outline progress that we're engaged on with the government printing works. That's why I raised the first point, Chair, that is there going to be a great period for us to make final contribution and corrections on the body outline of the report. I agree, Chair, with the co-chair on the, because if we had tracking of resolutions, this report could also outline progress on the decision we've taken, and also challenges or obstacles why either Home Affairs, IEC, or Government Protection Works did not deal with certain issues, so that if an ordinary person reads this document, that person who is not either a member of parliament, but that person able to grapple on the issues we engaged on, progress on particular matters, and failures, and what are the reasons that caused that failure. So I thought, because we raised this matter, Chair, in the last, when we were adopting the PRR report, that these are some of the improvements we may need to grapple with. Chair, this tracking resolution, I'm not sure, Chair, that you have now, it appears that is our last meeting. We're going to start next year, I assume on the, I thought, Chair, will have this all the resolution of the department we've taken before we close, so that we start at least with the coherent implementation of that critical decision we've taken, Chair. You know, this issue of these problems of the EOH treasury, which is part of the issues. We have issues with our systems now. During the year, we've taken it to conduct oversight, Chair, on the fire blades there by the airport. I remember the committee was emphatic on the agency to conduct that oversight, and it's not finding expression on this. So this tracking, which the co-chair is outlining, will take us back that these are decisions we have taken. This is the matter that we could not do. This is a department of conducted, so that it clearly outlines what we have worked for the year. And I think, Chair, I'm lobbying you, Chair, just to consider that we urgently need this tracking resolution of the department, so that it affirms also our contribution to the this debate. This is the exit plan of Cape Town refugees. The exit plan of the Cape Town refugees, it does not find expression on this report. The details are not there. The issue of the queues, Chair, as the co-chair raises it, quite important, which is just be coming out now and then. So I wanted to check, Chair, what time are we granted to, we can adopt in principle with amendment on the report, and be given time to look on the issues that we are raising, Chair. Thank you, Chairperson.
Well, thank you. Honorable Modikwa. Thank you. I think we need to adopt this thing today. Now that the speakers are over, I wanted to say, let's have a move of adoption of with all the amendments. I did make mention of the fact that it is our last meeting.
Chair.
The exception.
Sorry.
Who's calling?
No, continue. Apologies, Chairperson. I wanted to make one last input, but I'll wait till you're done. Sorry about that.
Yes, make it.
No, I wanted to know whether it would be possible to insert maybe a clause, a point that says The department must, by March 2021, table a detailed plan on how it intends fixing the challenges with regards to the implementation of our immigration laws as it pertains to the shortage of immigration inspectors, the porousness of our borders, corruption within the immigration branch, the backlog in the asylum seeker system, the reintegration or repatriation of refugees in Maitland and City, and the department's inability to identify undocumented and or illegal migrants. So I wanted us to have a resolution around them coming back with a detailed plan to address all of those issues. I can email it to Adam if possible. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, yes, it is acceptable.
Thank you.
What I was saying was that the only exception we are going to have a meeting is when this cluster report is presented, which we are following up, and or the oversight, because we have made necessary requests. So once those things are approved, they will form basis of an exception of us having to meet. But now I want to hence that move for the adoption with all the input that colleagues have made.
Chairperson, if I may present, I just made additions based on what the members have said whilst they were speaking, just as indicated in the document. I can go through them, but I've basically captured what the members have been saying in the document.
Proceed.
Thank you, sir. Just to indicate to Honourable Lizelle, firstly, the various points that she indicated, I've captured in several different recommendations rather than one large recommendation. So, for instance, I've made a submission here on the addressing issues of corruption, in particular in the immigration branch. And I made a submission also on the of the refugees in town and they're needing to be reintegrated or repatriated as per the presented to the committee. And then there's also there is a recommendation implementation of the BMA. So I've rather than have one submission, I've got it down as several different resolutions. But we'll send this to members. I've just revised the submission on the refugees and asylum seekers getting social relief grant, and such that the departments present to us on what was done on that in early 2021. I've also indicated that yes, that the issue of long addressed service officers, then that the DHM must report to the committee on all outstanding recommendations and performance targets, as indicated by several members. And then in relation to Honourable Chabane's question on the annual reports, like I said in the beginning, we explain why it is that the DHA submitted their annual reports late, and we got the link and their correspondence. So here we only indicate that they need to submit said reports as soon as possible, bearing in mind those limitations or those extensions that they requested that we state in the beginning of the document. We've also indicated that the IEC and the GPW should do the same. So I forgot to mention that when I presented initially. And then I included I think I captured the point of Honourable Chabane about continuing the GPW's engagement on expanding its business on the African continent. I believe that's what he indicated. And then that on the issue of the Constitutional Court matter, just that the executive and along with the IEC, should provide final policy options to implement the court ruling. So they present, just to say that they have presented something to us, but that they haven't completed that yet because there is a matter of time them needing to implement that before 2024, and now the timeline we presented, then they're being past that. So yeah, those are the issues I've captured in relation to what members said. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chairperson.
You are recognized.
No, Chair, I was referring to the capturing of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I think if he can work on that correct capturing. Thank you.
And I'll take that one out.
Thank you. Any mover for adoption? Honorable Recorder. Honorable Muelo. Honorable Muelo.
Chair.
Yes.
With the amendment made, and we move for the adoption of the report.
Any seconder?
Yes, Chair. I second the adoption. It's Lekwase.
Thank you, Honorable Lekwase. Any dissent?
Chair.
Yes.
Chair, the Democratic Alliance, we reserve our rights on the report.
Okay. Any other hand?
Yes, Chairperson.
Honorable
Chair.
Tito?
Please also note the abstention of the economic freedom fighters. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other hand? Thank you. The report is duly adopted. And then thank you, members. I think I would like to thank you very much for all the contribution. And we are going to keep in touch about the issues that I've already raised with regard to all these outstanding issues. The tracking device, we're going to make sure that we deal with it. And we will find a way of the best implementation with 80. And then,
Chairperson.
Honorable McGruber.
Chairperson, my apologies. I just want to check for the record as to whether we are a quorum in terms of the adoption of the
Eddie?
Chairperson, I I had the members. I've got Mr. Chavan, Mr. McCluver, Mr. Lekota is there. He's having difficulty in speaking. I don't know what could be the problem. It's yourself. And then another one is Miss Modise, Van der Merwe, Tito, and Mr. Muyelwa Likhwase. So we do have enough. We do have the quorum.
Did not count Rose.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Ross, yeah.
Can Eddie come in again? Is Mr. Muela Lokwase? I'm not.
No, as
McGruber is an alternate.
Yeah, it's an alternate. I just count because every time when I'm admitting members, I'm writing them down. So far I see that there's Mr. Chavan is there, Mr. McCluver is there, Mr. Ross is there, Chairperson is there. I know Miss Kanyile was there, but I'm not sure now because she had a problem. Miss Modise, she indicated that she was going to defense. Van der Merwe is there. Miss Tito is there. Mr. Lekota is there, although he's unable to speak because I'm sure there are challenges in him connecting. And Miss Likhwase. So we needed only to have 6.
I have enough.
So you confirm that we're fine?
Yeah, I'm confirming that we're fine.
All right. The report is duly adopted, colleagues. I think with those contributions, and I can safely close the meeting.
Chair, another concern. My apologies, Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, my apologies. I asked whether we are quorum. I'm happy to hear that we are quorum, but can we say that it's duly adopted with the parties indicating that they would hold their peace in this regard?
No, it is common cause. It is common cause, Honorable McGruber. It's on record that the EFF has decided not to participate, and the DA has reserved its right. So I think we're comfortable with that. I think if there is no any other matter from you, Honorable McGruber, I declare this meeting closed.
And best of the end of the year to everybody, in case we don't see each other. So best wishes to everybody from my side. Thank you, Chairperson.
Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm sure we'll meet
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, McCluver.
We are going to miss his jokes over Christmas.
Permission granted.
And please include me on the emailing list, man. Why are you doing this, man? The complete sabotage.
Yeah, I'm saying
no, man.
No, Eddie was supporting this net. Eddie, no, you're wrong.
I'm going to put you on the system, but also can you from your party, can you make sure that you are a member of the committee legally, because I know that you said you are an alternate member, but there's nothing that came from the EFF into committee section that you're an alternate member. So if that process could start now, so that in February when you come back, we know that
He is a member, just that he was in Brackenfell, Eddie.
Yes. He completed his probation period, so now he's allowed.
Please, members, please, can I not be sabotaged, please, members? Everyone, have a good festive, okay?
All right.
Everyone.
Stop, members, bye.
Enjoy, bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.